Hey guys, welcome back. I'm EDC Gunner, and today I just want to talk to you about the best affordable pilot's watch that's actually under $100. And that's because it's Chinese, but hear me out, don't just walk away. It's okay because it's cheap enough and it works reliably. So I borrowed this watch from a friend. He has it around 4 years and it's been working like a champ all of these 4 years, and he's been very active. He once dropped it also. So I always have been a fan of B-Uhr style watches. I haven't been a fan of Chinese watches, but if I will have to wear one, this one is it, because it's affordable and it's good looking. And this is homage to a B-Uhr watches. So pilot style watch, big pilot style watch, has been around since 40s. When the Luftwaffe pilots were supplied with these B-Uhr watches. Since then, the style has barely changed at all, and it's a classic design and the one that I really love wearing. The band on this watch is really good, but this is aftermarket Barton band. Actually, the owner took it and put it on his nicer watch, and that's how good it is. And problem with those older classic B-Uhr style watches were that they were 55 millimeters, so big, and it's not really variable. It makes sense if you're flying a plane without a computer, but nowadays it's not very doesn't make any sense. So this one is 44 millimeter across the diameter. You can find these all over the eBay. I think that's the best place you can find them in the best deals. Usually they're around 70, 80 bucks. Some of them come over, but if you once in a while, if you dig deep into the eBay listings and maybe it's some auctions, you can score one of these beauties for around 50, 60 bucks. And also plus the shipping, but I think it's a tremendous value at this price point, and one of the best watches, automatic watches, mechanical watches under $100 is Seiko 5. However, Seiko 5 does not look cool like this one, and there's no B-Uhr type watch, and I like the fact that this is a sterile dial. Of course, they have versions. They have versions without the sterile dial. However, I like it because it's a sterile dial. It says nothing on it, and the onion crown and the dial layout and everything about it is very cool. No one really claimed and who was the legendary designer of this dial and this watch, because no one claims credit, and there were 5 companies commissioned to build them. Lange & Söhne, you might have heard about them. Laco, Stover, IWC, and Wempe by the German government. And there are lots of big pilot watch homages out there. One of my favorite big pilot watches is, of course, IWC. And this one reminds you of IWC, but again, nobody claims credit for this amazing design. So I think it's alright in my books, and overall, if it's not even, I don't care. So let's take a closer look at this watch. This watch it was very popular back like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. Nowadays they're a bit under the radar in 2021. However, back in the days there were 47 millimeter version and 44. This is 44 and it wears very nice. And in fact, my friend has a very small, tiny wrist, and it works great. I have a bit bigger wrist, that's 7.5 inches, and this one just works perfectly. 44 millimeter cross diameter, stainless steel case. This one comes in polished bezel. Some of them come in brushed, and of course, you can see this is a limited edition. 117 out of 1,000 watches, and this is the best thing about this watch, because on every single one of them there's the same number, 117. And it's kind of funny, but also a bit ironic, because there are so many limited edition watches out there these days, so it's really cool to have it. And every one single of them is 117, which is extra credit. Beautiful dial is that design, beautiful dial layout, and you can see there are circle patterns on the sub-second dial, and everything about this watch is nice. What is not nice is the loom is not nice. The loom is virtually non-existent, so you can forget about loom when you buy this kind of watch. You can buy La Koštova. I think even Steinhardt is producing B-Uhr type watches, and I have to say this is great. And this onion crown on this watch is such a dream to wind. It's really easy to wind this watch. There's version with sub-second at 6 o'clock, and there's a version with the sub-second at 9 o'clock. So at the top of my head, the version at the 9 o'clock, I cannot remember the moment reference, the name of the moment at the 6 o'clock, this one, but on the 9 o'clock it's a Asian 6497, and it's a 17 joule Asian knockoff or a copy of a Unitas movement. The same movement you can find in some early Panerai movement watches and some early Panerai knockoffs also. So the early Panerai ones had the Swiss one, and knockoffs had this Asian movement. And the movement, speaking of movement, let me just show you the movement. At this price point, it's such a looker. And if you have someone who's not into watches, you want to get them into watches, you want to get them into mechanical watches, I think this is really cool. I think Seiko 5s are great watches. However, this is such a looker. And this is all machine milled, and all of these decorations and everything is machine milled. And so the moment with the small second hand, the 6 o'clock looks like this, has a large swan neck, and the moment 6497 at the sub-seconds at the 9 o'clock have a guilloche dial pattern. Since that guilloche dial is nothing fancy, it's nothing fancy and nothing to write home about, I think I dig this a bit more, just because it has this swan neck regulator, and the swan neck regulator is really cool, and the accuracy of these watches, it's pretty okay. I don't really measure accuracy too much on the watches. I don't really care about those I'm not that type of a person, but you can easily regulate the accuracy with this long swan neck regulator, so it's very easy. You need to access the crystal. It's held with the screws around, so you need a bit of fiddling to do some things with this watch. You need a bit of fiddling to access the movement, but you can definitely regulate it to be very, very accurate. So overall, very interesting watch for a little money. So the lug width on this one is 22 millimeters, and it's absolutely a strap monster. You can put all sorts of needles on it. I had this lovely Barton bands on this one, and this is actually one of the Barton bands I used to own, and I gifted to my buddy. And by the way, if you're watching this, thank you so much for lending me this watch for a review. I once did a video about this one, but it was kind of not a proper review. So for the price, and if this particular style appeals to you, I would definitely recommend one of these I would definitely recommend one of these big pilot homage watches. It has an impressive wrist presence, and it's very comfortable on the wrist, and it's very eye-catching, and I don't know, very cool watch. And always people talk about this one, and overall, I don't know, if you like pilots watches, I think the B-Uhr look, B-Uhr design of the watch is a staple of that collection. There's nothing else that says pilot watch more than this design.